The vast research station orbited Proxima Centauri like a metallic jewel, its solar panels glimmering against the deep purple backdrop of space. HFY adjusted her translucent data gloves, her fingers dancing across holographic displays that flickered with complex molecular structures and astronomical data. The Eoran research delegation had traveled millions of light years for this critical interstellar scientific symposium. Their species prided themselves on mathematical precision, emotional suppression, and pure intellectual pursuit. Every Eoran was bred and trained to be a perfect analytical machine, disconnected from the messy chaos of emotional experience. David Rodriguez moved differently from the other human researchers. Where most scientists meticulously documented their findings, he seemed to breathe curiosity. His hands moved with an organic energy, sketching complex theories on adaptive displays, his eyes sparkling with an infectious enthusiasm that seemed almost alien to HFY's structured worldview. During a complex presentation about xenobiological adaptation mechanisms, David unexpectedly deviated from his prepared slides. Instead of rigid data points, he began sharing a personal story about a research expedition where his team survived an unexpected planetary storm by improvising with limited resources. His narrative wasn't just a technical report, it was a living, breathing account of human resilience. HFY found herself unexpectedly captivated. The Eoran delegation sat rigidly, their neural implants likely filtering out what they'd consider unnecessary narrative contamination. But something in David's storytelling triggered a microscopic flutter in HFY's carefully controlled neural pathways. A holographic representation of a complex molecular structure rotated between them. David didn't just analyze it, he seemed to communicate with it, his hands moving as if understanding the structure's intrinsic language. His approach was less about dissecting information and more about developing a relationship with knowledge itself. Fascinating, HFY whispered, her translation implant converting her native language into perfect English. Humans perceive information as a living ecosystem, not just static data. The research station buzzed with activity. Robotic assistants glided silently, delivering specialized nutrient packages and maintaining environmental calibrations. Halian researchers from 12 different star systems moved through transparent corridors, their various physiological adaptations creating a mesmerizing tableau of interstellar diversity. Quantum communication arrays hummed with constant information exchange. Massive holographic displays showcased real-time data from exploration missions across multiple galaxies. Compact drone swarms prepared for potential planetary reconnaissance missions, their nano-engineered exoskeletons reflecting ambient light. David noticed HFY observing him. Instead of the typical professional distance most researchers maintained, he smiled, a simple, genuine expression that seemed to carry multiple layers of meaning. His smile wasn't just a facial movement, it was an invitation, a communication, method far more complex than verbal language. "Would you be interested in comparing our research approaches?" David asked, his voice carrying a warmth that contrasted with the station's sterile environment. HFY's neural implants processed multiple response scenarios in microseconds. Protocol suggested maintaining professional distance. Logical analysis recommended minimal personal interaction, but something unexpected happened, a microscopic emotional response that her training had never anticipated. "Affirmative," she responded, then surprised herself by adding, "I'm curious about your perspective." The station's artificial gravity hummed softly. Exotic plant specimens from various planetary ecosystems created small pockets of greenery, providing oxygen and aesthetic balance to the technological environment. Robotic maintenance units moved silently, ensuring perfect atmospheric conditions. As David began explaining his research methodology, HFY realized something profound was happening. This wasn't just a scientific exchange. It was the beginning of something much larger, a potential bridge between two fundamentally different ways of understanding existence. Her people saw the universe as a complex mathematical equation. Humans saw it as an adventure, a continuous narrative of discovery and wonder. Little did HFY know that this moment would become the first thread in a story that would challenge everything she understood about connection, emotion, and the very nature of intelligent life. The research station continued its silent orbit, unaware that within its transparent corridors, something extraordinary was about to unfold. The research collaboration between HFY and David intensified over the following weeks. What started as a professional partnership gradually transformed into something more profound. During late-night research sessions, David would share stories that went beyond scientific protocols, narratives about human resilience, love, and unexpected connections. One evening, while analyzing complex genetic adaptation patterns, David unexpectedly switched topics. "Do you know why humans explore?" he asked, his eyes reflecting a depth HFY had never witnessed in her own species. "It's not just about discovery, it's about understanding, about feeling connected to something larger than ourselves." HFY's neural implants struggled to process his words. Her training had always emphasized objective analysis, complete emotional detachment. But David's perspective introduced a completely different paradigm of understanding. Their research station orbited a distant binary star system, its massive solar arrays capturing exotic radiation patterns. Robotic maintenance drones moved silently outside, performing intricate repairs on the station's exterior. Inside, holographic displays flickered with complex scientific data, creating an ethereal environment of technological wonder. During one particularly intense research session, David demonstrated something extraordinary. When their computational models failed to solve a complex xenobiological adaptation problem, he didn't resort to standard recalculation protocols. Instead, he approached the challenge like a story, imagining potential evolutionary scenarios with an almost intuitive creativity. "Emotions aren't a weakness," David explained, sketching dynamic neural pathway simulations. "They're an advanced computational system. Feelings help us make complex decisions by integrating multiple layers of information simultaneously." HFY found herself captivated. Her people viewed emotions as inefficient computational noise, but David was presenting them as a sophisticated information processing mechanism. Their research took them to fascinating territories. They studied how human emotional intelligence allowed unpredictable problem-solving in extreme environments. David shared mission logs where human teams survived impossible scenarios through intuition, adaptability, and emotional support. The research station became their shared universe. Alien botanicals from multiple planetary systems created small ecological zones. Robotic assistants moved silently, maintaining perfect environmental conditions. Quantum communication arrays continuously transmitted data across galactic networks. During a critical experiment, something unexpected happened. Their combined research approach produced a breakthrough in understanding interspecies genetic adaptability, a discovery that could revolutionize understanding of biological intelligence across the galaxy. But their connection went beyond professional collaboration. HFY discovered nuances of human interaction she had never imagined. David's ability to express compassion, to understand emotional subtexts, challenged her entire philosophical framework. One evening, while reviewing their research, David spontaneously shared a personal story about losing a colleague during a challenging mission. His narrative wasn't just about loss, it was about resilience, about finding meaning through emotional connections. HFY's neural systems experienced something unprecedented, an emotional resonance that went beyond logical processing. She was experiencing what humans called empathy, a complex emotional computational process her species had always considered inefficient. Their relationship existed in a delicate balance. The Iran Research Council would never understand this connection. Emotional bonds were strictly forbidden in her society, viewed as a dangerous deviation from pure rational thinking. Compact surveillance drones occasionally passed by their research zone, their advanced sensors capturing every microscopic detail. But they couldn't decode the profound transformation happening between HFY and David, a connection that transcended traditional understanding of intelligence and communication. As binary stars outside cast intricate light patterns across the research station, HFY realized she was standing at the threshold of a revolutionary understanding. Humans weren't just another species. They were a complex, dynamic form of intelligence that challenged everything her civilization believed about consciousness. Their connection became a dangerous secret, a potential revolution waiting to challenge the rigid philosophical foundations of an entire civilization. The universe watched, silent and waiting. The decision to escape wasn't dramatic. It was a carefully calculated choice born from countless late-night conversations and shared moments of understanding. HFY's advanced Eoran neural network and David's human creativity began constructing a plan that would challenge the most sophisticated tracking systems in the known galaxy. Their initial strategy emerged during a routine maintenance check of the research station's quantum communication array. David noticed a microscopic vulnerability in the station's security protocols, a tiny imperfection that most systems would overlook. HFY's analytical mind immediately recognized the potential. "We'll need to modify the station's maintenance drone network," HFY whispered, her fingers dancing across holographic interfaces. Quantum encryption codes shimmered like liquid light between them, creating intricate patterns of potential escape routes. The research station was a marvel of interstellar engineering, a massive structure housing researchers from 17 different star systems. Its security was considered impenetrable. Robotic guardians with advanced AI moved through transparent corridors, their quantum processors scanning every microscopic detail. David's approach was brilliantly unconventional. Instead of creating a direct escape route, they would fabricate a complex series of misdirections. He pulled out an old-fashioned notebook, a quirk that always fascinated HFY. While other researchers used advanced neural interfaces, David preferred the tactile experience of physical writing. Their plan involved multiple layers of deception. HFY would use her high-level access codes to create phantom research missions. Simultaneously, David would manipulate the station's maintenance drone communication protocols. They would essentially create a digital ghost, a false trail that would lead any pursuers in the completely wrong direction. Compact surveillance robots continuously patrolled the research zones. Their advanced sensors could detect the slightest anomaly in atmospheric composition, neural activity, or environmental parameters. Breaking through their detection would require something beyond traditional technological approaches. "We'll use emotional complexity as our primary camouflage," David explained, sketching intricate diagrams. Eoran technology was designed to process pure logical data. Human emotional intelligence became their ultimate encryption method, something the rigid Eoran tracking systems couldn't comprehend. They began collecting specialized equipment, compact quantum displacement generators, advanced nano-camouflage suits that could alter molecular structures, quantum communication disruptors that could create temporary blind spots in tracking systems. The research station's maintenance levels became their primary preparation zone. Massive robotic assembly units moved massive scientific equipment, creating perfect cover for their preparations. Exotic alien botanical specimens created small ecological zones, providing additional concealment. HFY's neural implants worked overtime, calculating millions of potential scenarios every second. But for the first time in her life, she introduced an element her people considered dangerous: intuition. David's approach wasn't about eliminating all risks, but about creating adaptive response mechanisms. Their escape pod would be a modified research vessel, inconspicuous, designed to look like a routine scientific expedition. They carefully selected equipment that would appear completely standard to any potential observers. Every detail was meticulously planned, every potential tracking method anticipated. The quantum communication arrays hummed with constant interstellar data exchange. Massive holographic displays showed real-time information from exploration missions across multiple star systems. Compact drone swarms prepared for potential planetary reconnaissance missions, their nano-engineered exoskeletons reflecting ambient light. As their plan took shape, HFY realized they were creating more than an escape strategy. They were building a bridge between two fundamentally different ways of understanding existence. Her people saw the universe as a complex mathematical equation. Humans saw it as an adventure, a continuous narrative of discovery and wonder. Their final preparations happened during the station's maintenance cycle, a brief window when surveillance would be at its minimal point. Quantum displacement generators were carefully calibrated. Nano-camouflage suits were tested and retested. Every potential failure point was analyzed and reanalyzed. The universe seemed to hold its breath, waiting. They were ready. The moment they activated their escape sequence, the universe erupted into chaos. Eoran pursuit vessels, sleek, razor-sharp spacecraft with quantum tracking systems, emerged from subspace like deadly metallic predators. Their research vessel looked like an ordinary scientific exploration craft, its exterior deliberately designed to appear unremarkable. But inside, HFY and David were anything but ordinary. David's hands moved across navigational systems with an almost musical precision, while HFY's neural networks calculated potential escape trajectories faster than any standard computational system. Quantum displacement in 3, 2, 1, David whispered, his fingers dancing across holographic controls. The first pursuit wave came immediately. 3 massive Eoran interceptor vessels, each equipped with advanced tracking technology that could detect molecular variations at astronomical distances. Their quantum cannons could theoretically disintegrate an entire spacecraft in microseconds. But David wasn't thinking like a traditional pilot. Where standard navigation systems would plot direct routes, he introduced deliberate randomness. They dive through asteroid fields, use gravitational slingshot techniques around unstable neutron stars, and create false quantum signatures that would confuse even the most advanced tracking systems. HFY's contribution was equally brilliant. She began transmitting complex mathematical sequences that mimicked standard Eoran communication protocols. To any external observer, their vessel appeared to be sending routine research transmissions. Each signal was a carefully constructed digital camouflage. Massive holographic displays inside their spacecraft showed pursuing vessels, cold, precise machines driven by pure algorithmic pursuit. Outside, the darkness of space became a complex battlefield of technological warfare. The first asteroid field provided their initial advantage. David piloted their craft with an almost intuitive understanding, sliding between massive rocky formations that would have destroyed conventional spacecraft. Eoran vessels, designed for pure mathematical precision, struggled to match his unpredictable movements. "They're analyzing our quantum signature," HFY announced, her neural implants processing multiple data streams simultaneously. "We'll need to introduce additional complexity." David grinned, that uniquely human expression of pure joy and challenge. He activated a series of quantum disruptors, creating multiple false quantum signatures that would scatter across multiple star systems. To the pursuing Eoran vessels, it would look like their target had simultaneously escaped in 12 different directions. Robotic defense mechanisms on the Eoran vessels began recalculating, their perfect algorithms suddenly confronted with impossible mathematical scenarios. Each false signature was a puzzle, a challenge to their rigid computational logic. Their spacecraft passed near a dying star system, its unstable radiation creating perfect electromagnetic interference. David used the environment itself as a defensive mechanism, understanding that nature was more complex than any artificial tracking system. HFY watched in fascination. Her entire civilization believed in perfect mathematical control. David was demonstrating something revolutionary, that unpredictability could be a form of advanced intelligence. Compact defense drones launched from the Eoran vessels, their quantum processors designed to eliminate any potential escape routes. But each drone became another element in David's complex tactical dance. He wasn't avoiding them, he was using them, redirecting their own technological precision against them. "They're treating this like a mathematical problem," David explained, his hands moving with confident energy. But escape isn't about perfect calculation. It's about understanding the spirit of the journey. HFY's neural systems, for the first time, began to truly understand the concept of intuition. Her people saw the universe as a complex equation. Humans saw it as a living, breathing narrative. The pursuit continued across multiple star systems. Quantum cannons fired, electromagnetic disruption waves crashed against their vessels' shields. But HFY and David remained one step ahead, their combined intelligence creating a symphony of escape that defied traditional understanding. They weren't just running. They were writing a new definition of intelligence, of connection, of freedom. The Tati universe watched, silent and breathless. The human research colony on Epsilon Prime was nothing like the sterile, controlled environments of Eora. Nestled within a complex ecosystem of bioluminescent forests and crystalline mountain ranges, the colony pulsed with a living, breathing energy that both terrified and fascinated HFY. Their arrival was carefully managed. David's connections in the interstellar research community provided them a protective umbrella. The colony itself was a marvel of human adaptability, a perfect blend of advanced technology and organic living systems. Massive biodomes created controlled environments that seamlessly integrated with the planet's natural ecosystem. HFY's first days were a sensory explosion. Where her previous existence had been defined by mathematical precision, this new world celebrated complexity, emotion, and individual expression. Researchers from multiple star systems moved freely, their interactions a complex dance of communication that went far beyond simple information exchange. The research facilities were unlike anything she had experienced. Instead of rigid computational zones, the laboratories were living spaces. Plants grew alongside complex scientific equipment. Robotic assistants moved with a sense of collaborative purpose, not just mechanical efficiency. David introduced her to the concept of community, not as a structured system, but as a living, breathing network of individual connections. She watched how human researchers supported each other, sharing not just data, but emotional experiences, personal stories, moments of vulnerability. Emotions are our most advanced computational system, David would explain during their evening discussions. Quantum communication arrays would hum softly in the background, transmitting scientific data across multiple star systems. HFY began documenting her transformation. Her research took a revolutionary turn, exploring how emotional intelligence could be understood as a sophisticated information processing mechanism. Where her previous scientific approach was about elimination and control, she now saw complexity as a strength. The colony's medical facilities became her primary research zone. Advanced healing technologies worked alongside traditional understanding. Robotic medical assistants moved with a sense of compassion, not just clinical efficiency. They didn't just treat physical conditions, they understood the emotional context of healing. Her neural implants, once designed for pure logical processing, began adapting. They started capturing emotional nuances, understanding the complex information embedded in human interactions. What her original society considered computational noise, she now recognized as a sophisticated communication system. Compact research drones moved through the colony's ecological zones, capturing data about complex biological interactions. But these weren't just mechanical observers. They seemed to move with a sense of curiosity, of wonder. David's support was constant, but never overwhelming. He understood that her transformation was a delicate process. Some days, she would struggle with the emotional complexity of human existence. Other days, she would make breakthrough discoveries that challenged everything her civilization understood about intelligence. The colony's leadership recognized the potential of her research. Her work began bridging understanding between multiple alien species, demonstrating that emotional intelligence could be a universal language of connection. Quantum communication arrays would transmit her research across multiple star systems. Her findings challenged fundamental understanding of sentient communication. Emotions weren't a weakness. They were an advanced evolutionary adaptation, a complex system of information processing that went beyond traditional computational models. Their living quarters reflected their journey. Scientific equipment mixed with personal mementos. Holographic displays showed complex research data alongside personal photographs. Exotic plants from multiple planetary systems created small ecological zones, a perfect metaphor for their own relationship. As months passed, HFY transformed. She was no longer just a scientist from a rigid, controlled society. She had become something new, a bridge between different ways of understanding existence. The Eoran ruling council would eventually receive her research. But this wasn't a surrender. It was a challenge, a demonstration that intelligence was far more complex than their mathematical models could comprehend. David would often find her watching the bioluminescent forests, her neural systems processing the complex ecosystem's interactions. "What do you see?" he would ask. "Everything," she would respond. "And for the first time, I'm truly understanding what that means." Their story was more than an escape. It was a revolution of understanding. The universe watched, waiting,